let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself wondering, what does he really think about me when I'm not around? Like, what goes through his head late at night when he's lying in bed staring at the ceiling? Because here's the secret: when a man is truly in love with a woman, his fantasies change. It's no longer just about physical attraction or that initial spark. His mind starts drifting into deeper, more emotional, more powerful places. See, most people think men are simple creatures, right? They think all guys fantasize about is sex. And while that's part of it, here's the truth: when he's in love with you, his imagination doesn't stop at the bedroom door. It goes far beyond. His fantasies start weaving into his daily life, into his dreams, into his sense of identity as a man. And ladies, this is where it gets interesting, because the things men fantasize about when they love you aren't the same things they fantasize about with just anyone. When it's real, it's about connection. It's about how he can show up for you, how he can protect you, how he can make you smile when you least expect it. And yes, how he can completely blow your mind in bed, but in a way that makes you feel worshipped, not just desired. So today, I want to take you behind the curtain of a man's heart and mind. I want to share with you 5 powerful fantasies men have about the women they truly love. And as you hear these, I want you to reflect, because if a man is showing you these things, chances are you're not just the love of his life. You're also the leading lady in every one of his daydreams. He fantasizes about protecting you. When a man falls in love, one of the most powerful fantasies that runs through his mind is the idea of protecting you. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean he sees you as weak or incapable. It's not about him thinking you can't handle yourself. In fact, most men are incredibly attracted to strong, independent women who can hold their own. But when love enters the equation, something primal gets triggered inside of him. He starts to fantasize about being the one you can lean on, the one you turn to when life feels heavy, the one who makes you feel safe, both emotionally and physically. Think about it: when a guy is dating casually, he might not worry too much about whether you've eaten dinner, whether you got home safe, or whether that coworker who upset you is still bothering you. But when he's in love, his imagination shifts. He finds himself daydreaming about swooping in when you're stressed, wrapping his arms around you after a hard day, and standing up for you if someone disrespects you. He doesn't just want to watch your back, he needs to. Because to him, protecting you is one of the deepest ways of expressing love. And this protection doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's simple. He texts you to check if you got home after your night out with friends. He insists on walking you to your car even when you roll your eyes and tell him you're fine. He offers his jacket when it's cold, even though he's freezing too. These little gestures aren't random. They come from a very real fantasy that he gets to be your safe place, your anchor in a chaotic world. But here's the part women often miss: men don't just want to protect you from physical danger. They fantasize about protecting your heart. That means he wants to be the guy who never makes you feel insecure, who never leaves you guessing, who shields you from unnecessary pain. When a man loves you, he thinks about how he can guard your emotions. He doesn't want to be another wound in your story. So he starts to imagine himself as the person who lifts you up when you're doubting yourself, who speaks life into you when you're feeling small, who reminds you of your worth when the world tries to tear you down. There's also something deeply masculine in this fantasy. Protection gives him a sense of purpose. Men want to feel useful, and in love, that desire intensifies. He fantasizes about being the man who can take some of the weight off your shoulders, who can fix things when they break, who can make you feel like no matter what happens, you're never alone in facing it. It's not about control, it's about contribution. It's about him wanting to add to your sense of peace, not take away from it. And let's not forget the physical side of this fantasy. Men often imagine holding you close, pulling you against their chest, and feeling that subtle surrender when you let them take care of you for a moment. That image of you relaxing in his arms becomes one of the most intoxicating things he can picture. It's not just sexual, it's deeply emotional, because for him, that's proof that you trust him enough to let go. So when a man loves you, protection isn't just something he does occasionally. It's something he fantasizes about daily. He wants to be your safe haven, your stronghold, your reminder that no matter how chaotic the world gets, you'll never have to face it alone. And when he gets the chance to live out that fantasy, even in the smallest ways, it not only makes you feel secure, it makes him feel like the man he was always meant to be. He fantasizes about surprising you. One of the sweetest and most powerful fantasies men have when they're in love is the idea of surprising you. And not just any kind of surprise. It's not about playing pranks or shocking you for fun. It's about creating those moments where your eyes widen, your lips curl into that irresistible smile, and you look at him like he just made your entire day. That image of you being genuinely delighted, maybe even speechless, is something that sticks in his mind like a favorite song he keeps replaying. See, when a man loves you, he starts to imagine all the little ways he can sweep you off your feet when you least expect it. He thinks about walking through the door holding your favorite takeout after a long, exhausting day, or sneaking a note into your bag so you find it halfway through work, or even planning something bigger, a surprise trip, a romantic dinner, or decorating the house with candles, just to remind you how much you mean to him. These aren't just random gestures, they're his way of living out a fantasy that he can constantly bring joy into your life. And here's the fascinating part. It's not about the grandness of the gesture. Sure, he might daydream about whisking you away to Paris or buying you that expensive piece of jewelry, but most of the time, his fantasy isn't about how much he spends, it's about how much he can make you feel. He imagines the look on your face when you realize he's been paying attention to the small details, that he knows what flavor of ice cream makes you light up, or that he remembered that random story you told about a childhood toy and somehow found it for you. For him, surprising you isn't about ego, it's about intimacy. It's his way of saying, I see you, I know you, I listen to you. And let's be honest, there's also a playful side to this fantasy. Men love to imagine the anticipation of setting up the surprise, keeping it a secret, and then finally seeing your reaction. That thrill he feels in picturing you gasping, laughing, maybe even tearing up a little. That's a rush he can't get enough of. It makes him feel like he's not just your partner, but also the person who brings light into your life. Now, of course, surprises don't always go perfectly. Maybe he burns the dinner he tried to cook, or the timing of his little plan doesn't line up. But here's the beautiful thing. He still fantasizes about it because in his mind, the effort is worth it. He wants to be the man who keeps the relationship alive with unexpected moments, the guy who never lets things grow stale. That's why when he's in love, he doesn't just fantasize about the early passion, the flowers, the first dates, the butterflies. He fantasizes about keeping that magic alive years down the line. And let's not underestimate how sexy this can feel to him. Men don't just think of surprises in the romantic PG sense. He also fantasizes about surprising you in the bedroom, catching you off guard with a kiss, pulling you close when you didn't see it coming, or trying something new that leaves you breathless. That combination of romance and spontaneity is intoxicating to him because it keeps him from ever feeling like you're just going through the motions. His fantasy is that he can be the man who continually makes your heart race, not just because of desire, but because of wonder. So when a man is truly in love, he carries this fantasy with him every single day to be the one who delights you, who makes you feel like the world is more exciting with him in it, who surprises you not just with gifts or plans, but with the depth of his love. And the greatest reward for him is that moment, the spark in your eyes, the smile on your lips, because that's the proof that his fantasy isn't just in his head, it's real. He fantasizes about pleasing you in bed. When a man truly loves a woman, one of the strongest fantasies he carries is about pleasing her in bed. And I don't just mean physically, though of course that's a huge part of it. I'm talking about the way he fantasizes about being the one who unlocks her deepest desires, who makes her feel desired in ways no one else ever has, and who gives her a kind of intimacy that lingers long after the lights go out. For a man in love, nothing is sexier than imagining her losing herself in the moment because of him. Men have this misconception attached to them that they're selfish in the bedroom, that it's always about their release. But when he loves you, the fantasy flips completely. He starts thinking about your pleasure more than his own. He imagines the look in your eyes when he touches you the right way, the sound of your voice when he kisses you in that spot he knows drives you wild, the way your body responds when he takes his time. In his mind, every sigh, every shiver, every little moment of surrender from you is proof that he's doing something right. And that becomes his obsession. It's also about control, but not in the way people often assume. It's not about dominance over you. It's about guiding you to a place where you feel safe enough to let go, where you trust him enough to completely surrender to the experience. That's what he fantasizes about, creating an environment where you're not overthinking, where you're not self-conscious, where you're not holding back, because his love and his attention have melted all of that away. And let's be honest, men are visual creatures. So yes, he fantasizes about how you look when you're in that state of pleasure, but it goes deeper than just the image. He craves the feeling that he's the only one who gets to see that side of you, the side that's raw, unfiltered, completely vulnerable. To him, that's the most intimate connection two people can have. It's not just about sex, it's about exclusivity. His fantasy is that he's the only man who gets that part of you. Another thing he fantasizes about is surprising you in bed. Not in the jump out from behind a door kind of way, but with passion. He imagines kissing you when you least expect it, changing up the pace, introducing something new that makes you gasp in the best way. That unpredictability fuels his desire, because he wants you to always feel that spark with him, even years into the relationship. He doesn't fantasize about routine. He fantasizes about keeping things alive, keeping things electric, keeping you addicted to being with him. And here's the part most women don't realize for a man who's deeply in love. Your pleasure is tied to a sense of success. He can close the biggest deal at work, win awards, hit milestones, but nothing will give him the same sense of pride as knowing he made you feel completely desired and completely satisfied. That's why when he's lying in bed imagining the two of you, his focus isn't just on what he's getting, it's on what you're feeling. Because in his heart, your pleasure is his pleasure. So when a man loves you, his fantasy isn't just to have you in his bed, it's to have you fulfilled in his bed, to see you melt under his touch, to hear your laughter and your sighs, to watch you glow afterward, because he knows he gave you something more than just sex. He gave you intimacy, connection, and the reminder that you are absolutely irresistible to him. That's the fantasy that keeps him coming back for more, not just because of what it gives him, but because of what it gives you. He fantasizes about building a future with you. When a man is truly in love, one of the most powerful fantasies that begins to play out in his mind isn't just about today or tomorrow, it's about forever. He starts imagining a future with you, and not just in vague terms. He begins to picture the little details, the shared routines, the milestones, and the adventures. This isn't about some superficial idea of settling down. It's about weaving you into the fabric of his life so tightly that he can't imagine a version of the future where you're not right there beside him. At first, this fantasy might sneak up on him. Maybe you're laughing together over something silly, and suddenly he imagines what it would be like to laugh with you in the same way 10 years from now. Maybe you're cooking dinner together, and he finds himself thinking about what it would be like to have that as a nightly ritual, not just a date night activity. Or maybe you're walking down the street and he catches himself picturing you both older, still holding hands, still sharing the same closeness. When a man loves you, these flashes of the future start coming more and more often. It's not just about romance either. He fantasizes about partnership. He imagines building a life where the two of you tackle challenges together, where your wins are his wins and his victories feel sweeter because you're there to celebrate with him. He might think about the kind of home you'll live in, the traditions you'll create, the trips you'll take, or the family you might build. Even if he's never been the kind of man to talk about marriage or kids before, love has a way of unlocking those dreams. Suddenly, they're not just ideas, they're specific daydreams, and they all have you in them. There's also a protective, responsible element to this fantasy. He doesn't just imagine the fun moments, he imagines how he'll show up for you when life gets hard. He thinks about being the man you can count on during struggles, the one who provides stability when things feel uncertain, the one who stands beside you no matter what storms come your way. To him, the future isn't only about joy, it's also about loyalty. And in his mind, loyalty is the most romantic promise he could ever give. And don't underestimate how much pride he feels when he envisions this future. For men, love and purpose are deeply intertwined. When he's in love, he doesn't just fantasize about his career, his goals, or his achievements in isolation. He fantasizes about achieving them with you as part of the picture. He wants to succeed in a way that makes you proud, to build something that you both benefit from, to create a life where your happiness is tied to his sense of accomplishment. That's why his fantasy of the future often includes not just material things like homes or trips, but emotional things as stability, security, joy, and lasting intimacy. And let's be real, sometimes this fantasy is playful and romantic. He might imagine what your kids would look like, what names you'd choose, or who'd be the stricter parent. He might picture anniversaries, holidays, or even something as simple as lazy Sundays on the couch with you. To him, these daydreams are intoxicating because they take his love for you out of the present moment and stretch it across a lifetime. So when a man truly loves you, his fantasy isn't just to have you today, it's to build a tomorrow with you. And the day after that, and every day after that, it's to wake up with you year after year, to grow with you, to laugh with you, to face life with you. That's not just a fantasy, it's the deepest dream of a man who has found someone worth building a future with. He fantasizes about making you proud of him. When a man truly loves a woman, one of the strongest fantasies he carries is the idea of making her proud. And I don't just mean proud in the sense of, look at what I bought you, or look at the things I own. No, when he's in love, his fantasy goes deeper. He starts to crave that moment where you look at him, not just as your partner, but as a man you admire, respect, and trust to stand by your side. That feeling of seeing pride in your eyes becomes one of the most intoxicating things he could ever imagine. Men are wired to want to achieve, to conquer challenges, to feel like they have purpose. But when he loves you, achievement no longer feels complete unless you're there to witness it. He starts to fantasize about reaching his goals and seeing your smile, your applause, your "I'm so proud of you." That tells him he's not just winning in life, he's winning with you. That acknowledgement is more powerful to him than any paycheck, any promotion, or any recognition from the world. Because in his heart, your pride means more than all of it combined. And it's not always about big, flashy accomplishments. Sure, he might fantasize about you cheering him on when he lands that big promotion, starts that business, or crushes that personal goal he's been chasing. But often, his fantasies are smaller and more intimate. He imagines you noticing the little things, the way he fixed something in the house, the effort he put into handling a tough situation, the way he supported you when you needed him. He craves those quiet moments where you look at him with that sparkle in your eyes that says, "That's my man. I'm proud of him." This fantasy is also tied to his sense of masculinity. Men want to feel needed, but not just in a carry the heavy boxes way. They want to feel like they're adding to your life, like their presence makes your world richer. So he fantasizes about becoming a man who makes you feel safe, inspired, and cherished. He wants you to admire not just what he does, but who he is, his strength, his character, his loyalty, his ambition. All of that becomes part of the picture he hopes you'll be proud of. There's also a vulnerable side to this fantasy, because at its core, making you proud isn't just about his ego, it's about validation. Men, whether they admit it or not, often fear they're not enough, that they'll fall short. They won't live up to the role of being the man you deserve. So when he fantasizes about you being proud of him, it's not just a dream, it's also a reassurance. It's his way of saying to himself, if she's proud of me, then I must be doing something right. Then maybe I really am enough. And let's not overlook how this ties into intimacy. A man's deepest attraction to a woman he loves isn't just physical, it's emotional. Knowing that you see him, respect him, and take pride in who he is makes him want to give more, love more, protect more, and please you more. Your pride fuels his passion. It's like oxygen to his fire. So when a man loves you, making you proud becomes more than just a nice thought. It becomes one of his driving fantasies. He imagines building a life, achieving his goals, and growing into someone that makes you smile when you introduce him to people, when you talk about him with your friends, or when you simply look at him across the room. Because at the end of the day, his ultimate fantasy is not just that you love him, it's that you admire him, you respect him, and you're proud to call him yours. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. When a man truly loves you, his fantasies aren't shallow. They're not just about your body or what happens between the sheets. They run deeper, richer, more meaningful. He fantasizes about protecting you, surprising you, pleasing you in ways that make you feel adored, building a future with you, and becoming the kind of man you're proud to stand beside. And ladies, here's the truth. When you start to recognize these things in your man, you'll see love in action. Because fantasies aren't just dreams floating around in his head. They're the blueprint for how he wants to treat you, how he wants to show up for you, and how he wants to keep you in his life forever. So the next time you catch yourself wondering, does he really love me? Don't just look at the words he says. Pay attention to the actions, the little gestures, the things he does that line up with these 5 fantasies. Because if he's living them out, even in small ways, you've got a man who's not only in love with you, but completely invested in you. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 fantasies do you think your man has about you? Or if you're single, which one of these would mean the most to you when you do find the right guy? Drop your answer in the comments. I love reading your stories. If this video gave you clarity, hit that like button so more women can see it. Subscribe for weekly relationship advice that actually makes sense. And don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Because remember, you deserve the kind of love that isn't just a fantasy, but a reality.